Well, you just heard President Trump talking about how serious he is about the Save America Act, also putting on Truth Social saying, quote, I, as president, will not sign other bills until this is passed, and not even watered down version. Go for the gold. Must show voter ID, proof of citizenship. No mail-in ballots except for military, illness, disability, travel. No men in women's sports. No transgender immunization for children. Do not fail. Yeah. He's kind of taking the nuclear option here, but now the White House will need a the House will need a supermajority if they want to get past that veto power, which they're not going to. I mean, Democrats may actually vote against stuff just to vote against Trump. Who knows? But Nate Morris said that there's one man in particular to blame for not having the SAVE Act pass the Senate. He said, we have somebody in Mitch McConnell who is making his last effort to do everything he can to oppose the president. His opposition is nothing more than jealousy, pettiness, and is all about taking one more shot at the president on his way out. Well, I just so happen to agree. Kentucky Senate candidate Nate Morris. All right, look, totally agree with that. He's the John McCain of this election cycle.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, we all remember John McCain giving the thumbs down to get rid of Obamacare. It's the same thing. It's no different. And this is just pettiness. This is something, jealousy. We know that we got to get this Save America Act passed. And Mitch McConnell is doing everything he can to thwart the president's agenda, just like he voted against his picks, right, and just like he's caused the president so much trouble over the last several years.
Well, but I hear it's not even him. It could be I think one of his senior staff is actually holding it back because she's not even letting it go forward.
Well, we're not really sure who's running the office right now. We're not really sure what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, Carl, you may recall this is reminiscent of what we saw with Dianne Feinstein on her final days out of the Senate. We're seeing the same kind of behavior and activity with Mitch McConnell. It's no different. And Carl, you know, that's one of the reasons why I said, look, I'm going to serve 2 terms in the U.S. Senate, be done, give it to the next generation. This was never meant to be anybody's career. And Mitch McConnell's been there for over 40 years. And that's why we got to have outsiders and business people that don't need the job, don't need the money to go to Washington to shake it up.
But the other thing, Nate, is the fact that, I don't know, probably 50% of the people running for these seats, they're like, yeah, I mean, look at Susan Collins. She was out there. I will only do 1 or 2 terms. She's been there like who knows how long.
You know, you got to stick to that. And I'm willing to stick by the term limits. I'm emphatic about that. Look, Carl, I don't need this job. I'm going up there to fight. Kentucky needs a fighter. Kentucky needs somebody who's going to stand with the president and recognize that this is Donald Trump's Republican Party and vote accordingly. You know, every chance Mitch McConnell's gotten, he's thwarted President Trump over and over again. And that's not what Kentucky voted for. Right. Trump carried Kentucky by over 30 points. And we need to have a senator that recognizes that and votes accordingly.
But, I mean, now you even have Democrats. If, let's say, they take the House and the Senate back, God forbid the Senate, you have people like Chuck Schumer already out there saying that, look, we're going to oppose everything Trump does, and we're going to put the money that we cut from DOGE back into the next budget. I mean, how crazy is that?
It's absolutely nuts. I mean, look, we got to get really tough. You know, the zombie filibuster, it's really clear. We got to get rid of it. We got to get while the getting's good. We've got the political winds at our back. We have every branch of government. We need to get the president's agenda through, and we need to codify it because we got one chance to save this country. And that's what the Save America Act is all about. That's what the president's agenda is all about. That's why he was elected in 2024, is to save this country. And we got to do everything we can to help him.
Nate, real quick before I let you go, over under, how many seats do you think the Democrats lose if voter ID is a thing?
Well, look, what I do know is that the reason why Democrats are kicking and screaming about the Save America Act is they need illegals to win elections. I mean, Carl, you may remember this, but Stephen Miller said if illegals didn't vote in our elections, Republicans would pick up at least 20 congressional seats around the country. So this is what this is all about. This is about power, and you should show an ID, and they want to cheat. That's what this is all about, plain and simple.
Yeah, well, look at what they're doing with the census, too. Nate Morris, good luck, my man.
Thank you.
All right, coming up, terrorism again in New York City. I thought Islam was the religion of peace. My thoughts, next.
Every day across the globe, big business agendas go unseen by investors. Things that go against your core values and beliefs. It's time to know your investments. Abortion. alternative lifestyles, gender and identity confusion. If you believe in protecting marriage and life, children, innocence, guarding masculinity, restoring families, defending religious liberty, invest with your values. Before investing, carefully consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the investment company. This and other important information can be found in the fund's prospectus. To obtain a copy, visit timothyplan.com or call 800-846-7526. Read each prospectus carefully before investing. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
One of my most frequently asked questions is, how do you get your teeth so white? And no, it's not the reflection off my white hair. It's Smile Actives. Boom, right there.
Do you have a yo-yo smile? Sometimes yellow, sometimes white. It's a constant battle between everyday stains and whitening treatments. Until now, get Smile Actives, the daily teeth whitening breakthrough that gives you a more youthful smile and helps you keep it.
Smile Actives is easy, and it works. No gloopy trays, no messy strips.
Just add Smile Actives to your favorite toothpaste and watch the magic happen. Our patented Polyclean microfoam lifts away deep stains for a dramatically younger and whiter smile.
You have a choice. You can have those yellow teeth, or you can be full of confidence. I love my white teeth.
Scan, click, or call for your whitest smile yet. And if you order right now, we'll double your whitening free. Get an extra Smile Actives as our free gift to you, but only while supplies last.
And right now, the best part, buy one, get one free.
100% of users saw whiter teeth. Smile Actives lifts away even the toughest stains from coffee, wine, and food, gently restoring your bright, youthful smile. Plus, it's safe for veneers, crowns, and dentures.
I drink coffee every day. Smile Active, it works. Got your boy gleaming.
Clinically shown to brighten your teeth 5 shades whiter in just 7 days.
If you could use something so easy like Smile Actives to take yellow teeth to white teeth, why wouldn't you?
Act now. Get Smile Actives for just $24.95 and we'll double your order. Free. But hurry, this deal won't last. Smile Actives is guaranteed to work. Whiten your teeth or get your money back. No questions asked. Don't wait. Get Smile Actives for just $24.95 and we'll send you a second bottle absolutely free. That's free shipping. A free extra bottle. That's an incredible 58% savings.
I think we can all agree, no matter what the occasion, when you leave the house, everyone notices your bright white smile.
Scan the code, go to smileactives.com or call to get your beautiful whiter smile now.
In every country, Muslims are the minority. They scream about minority rights. But can you name me one single Muslim majority country that holds minority rights in the same regard we do, or that they're asking for? I mean, if you're struggling to think of one, the answer is none. Okay, this is a national story, and here's it's happening everywhere. We Texas last week, and New York City this week, and maybe, who knows, your town, hopefully not, but could be next. Now, New York City, just the most recent example, empowered, I think, by the Muslim mayor who gave a press conference after those 2 Muslims threw homemade hand grenades into a protest. And instead of mentioning the Muslim terrorists first, who, tried to kill people with makeshift bombs, the Muslim mayor came out and condemned the peaceful side of the protest first.
This was a vile protest rooted in white supremacy entitled "Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City."
Now, why would someone protest the Islamic takeover of New York City? Could it have something to do with the fact that Muslims took over Times Square, saying we're here to take over New York City?
This is the correct religion. This is the religion that all of humanity needs to be upon, of Islam. And we will not stop until it enters every home. There is no God worthy of worship except Allah.
So they're saying that there's no other religion other than Islam, and it will enter every home. There's thousands of people there at that prayer ceremony. You see how that might make some people uncomfortable or might make them want to counter-protest that, right? See, people like me don't like being told that our homes are going to be invaded and a religion's going to be forced upon us. I mean, Islam, as that guy proclaimed, will never enter my home against my will. And, well, if you watch the show, you probably know how that story will end. 2A stuff, which is an American value. Also an equal American value. People are free to practice whatever religion they want, but they're not free to push it on me, in a Christian country. That is what the original protest outside of Gracie Mansion was there for, in front of a Muslim mayor's house, because they were tired of stuff getting pushed on them, like this woman who tried to ban dogs in New York City, that only after she was called out that she's, oh, it was a joke. Sure. This is exactly why people were protesting at the mansion in the first place. But Mamdani, after calling the anti-Islam protesters vile, he did not offer any criticism to the Muslims, too, that threw lit homemade claymore mines at counter-protesters. Just that violence will not be tolerated.
The counter-protesters met this display of bigotry peacefully, with a vision of a city that is welcoming to all. But a few did not. Two men, Amir Balat and Ibrahim Qayyumi, traveled from Pennsylvania and attempted to bring violence to New York City. They are suspected of coming here to commit an act of terrorism. There is video of these two individuals throwing two devices towards the protest.
You want to know why people are protesting Islam taking over New York City? The police commissioner literally laid it out today.
He said, this isn't a religion that just stands when people talk about the blessed name of the prophet. We take action, we take action. I pledge my allegiance to the Islamic State. Die in your rage, you kuffar. Now, die in your rage is a commonly known ISIS slogan, and kuffar is an Arabic term that refers to non-believers.
Yeah, see, that don't fly with my First Amendment rights. You see how, according to those terrorists, most people might see Islam as not compatible with our God-given rights in a Christian nation. Look, I know it's been taboo to say stuff like this for a while, but we got to call this pattern recognition. Also, just listening to exactly what they keep telling us. So, look, I'll say whatever I want about any religion, the prophet, or whoever. The litmus test is, though, what is more important, the rule of law or Islam? I mean, simple question, but if you asked that for years, you were like cast away as Islamophobic. We're pretty much done with those games at this point. You don't get to throw grenades into a protest. The America's done with all this stuff. I mean, like, this might fly in Manhattan, where it's a bunch of neutered sheep that will vote themselves into the slaughter, but not the rest of America. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me just give you this little tidbit here. The exit polling in New York City on Election Day showed that safety was the top concern among voters, but yet New Yorkers overwhelmingly voted for the guy who promised to empty the prisons and called violence a social construct. In fact, even worse, 84% of women aged 18 to 29 who also polled as safety as their top concern voted for Mamdani. Happy International Women's Day, ladies. To celebrate, you voted to sacrifice yourself. I mean, thank God for the 19th Amendment, right? You see, I may not agree with everything the guy who held that protest this weekend believes, but every American should be against the guys who threw the bombs at the people peacefully protesting. And the justification for throwing those bombs they used was Islam. Just in the last few weeks, Muslim shoots up a bar in Austin, Texas, 2 dead, 14 shot. Muslim throws nail bomb, shrapnel IED at Christians in New York City.
We were born and raised in New York, and we want everyone here to stay in New York. You don't get to come from outside and then tell everyone else.
Literally saying we welcome everybody in New York. The guy pushes him down, throws a grenade over his head. Muslim posed enough of a threat that he had to be taken down off and removed from a Southwest flight from Nashville to Fort Lauderdale. A bomb threat was called in the Kansas City airport. Explosion hits near a U.S. embassy in Oslo while tensions skyrocket. Homeland Security warns of heightened lone wolf threatening attacks of Iranians. And don't forget the 3 bomb threats on the Upper East Side of Manhattan yesterday. But under the banner of diversity, tolerance, and I guess self-hatred, liberals have like mass imported Muslims, and not just Muslims, but a ton of other cultures that don't respect ours. That is how we had the 3 bomb threats and a Muslim throwing shrapnel grenades at those who were peaceably assembling. Because places like Dearborn, Michigan, were the majority Muslim city, whose Muslim mayor wanted to throw out an American citizen who lived there almost his whole life, protesting the renaming of streets to change them to terrorist-affiliated supporters. Yeah, I'd be mad about that too. I know it's hard to believe that a city that praising, the Ayatollah of Iran after Americans killed him, but I mean, Iran now saying that they're going to activate sleeper cells in America. I mean, challenge accepted. But, folks, I think this is just the beginning. Look, I say don't be a victim. Be ready. Or are you more concerned with diversity and stuff? Turning Point USA contributor Morgonn McMichael and Daily Caller reporter Ashley Brasfield. You guys have both been covering this. I mean, Ashley, it seems to me that people they will march themselves off a cliff in order to make themselves feel good.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I'm glad you mentioned, the New York City young female voter demographic that voted Mamdani in. It's a real problem. And I think the conservative movement has yet still to address that. I think they captured a lot of the young males in the 2024 presidential election. Trump and Charlie Kirk were a huge part of that. And I know Morgan can speak to that. But I think there is something that has to be done to and kind of encapsulate this younger generation of women. And partially that is this idea of affordability that, guised over this idea of the safety aspects here. And, New York City is really just one of a kind, but you're exactly spot on throughout your entire monologue that Islam is not compatible.
But the fact that that person was screaming about peace, love, and tolerance, and they literally threw a grenade over it. Morgan, Trump was asked about these sleeper cells, and the Democrats are keeping DHS shut down. Roll this.
One of the things we have to do is get the Democrats to stop the Democrat shutdown, because, as you know, the apparatus that looks into that, Schumer and the Democrats have shut it down, which tells you they probably hate our country a lot. But the Democrats have to open that up. But we've got very, very good intelligence into that.
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing shut down right now, Morgan, is TSA.
Right, which is incredibly concerning because these TSA agents aren't wanting to do their jobs, especially when their paychecks are going to start to lapse. You saw 3-hour wait lines in Houston. And at the end of the day, if the TSA agents aren't wanting to do their jobs to the fullest extent, you really don't know who is getting in and out of these airports, who may have contraband. You saw the airline Southwest with the threat on board. And it is just incredibly concerning of what's going on in our country right now. And this is what happens when you allowed mass migration to come in, when you have a lot of Muslims that are coming to this country and practicing their religion and have no respect for Americans. And I don't think it should be allowed.
Yeah, it's actually shocking. But Ashley, Bill Maher actually pointed out how crazy this is. Adam Schiff, his Trump derangement syndrome. Roll this.
This statement from the administration: the president had the constitutional authority to direct the use of military force because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest. That's too vague for you?
Totally vague.
Okay, because that's from Obama about Libya.
Well, got him, Ashley.
They did get him. And, he can't be Hakeem Jeffries and act like he wasn't in office when all this was happening, which was a total, bad PR move on Jeffries in general. But, Schiff, totally, all Democrats on this one side when they're just a bunch of hypocrites on this. And, there's certain ones that you maybe have been outspoken like the Ro Khannas, but Schiff has been on the wrong side of this issue to try and get out of that one. So good luck with that.
Morgan, I want to get to something else. I saw this, and I thought this was like a scene from the Star Wars Cantina bar. Remember this? Roll it. Okay, so now you tell me, Morgan, if this is any different right here. This, what you're seeing on your screen, put that up, is the Paris Fashion Week. This brand called Matrice Fiscales, which literally means fecal matter. Crap. In this bizarre runway thing. Morgan, what did I wake up in the wrong universe?
It's incredibly dystopian, and this entire show had many satanic and demonic nods to it, which we all know that the fashion industry, especially in the avant-garde side, has gone down the rabbit holes of trying to make fashion like this normalized in society. I don't think we should put up with it as a society and instead take these images and mock them and laugh at them, because truly, I don't think that any of this will become mainstream. The fashion industry has always been a couple steps behind, I think.
Ashley, these people, though, they're posing in front of the boards and they're doing their, like, they think that this is like an actual thing. They think this is like there's some sort of hierarchy of awesomeness in this freak show. How did we as a culture, like, who woke up and like, you know what, I'm going to dress like that thing right there and I'm going to walk down. You wouldn't catch me dead. I wouldn't donate my corpse to science to do stuff like this.
Yeah, this is what they would call art, I think, a lot of
No.
the time. And what depicts that is if Anna Wintour, the editor-in-chief of Vogue, is in the front row, and so therefore it becomes acceptable all of a sudden. But it's really these caricatures. They have to dress up, become this other person because they're so unhappy with themselves most of the time. Fashion industry, like Morgan said, we saw this with Balenciaga, a lot of demonic references there. This is not fashion. Let me just put it that way.
Morgan, real quick before I let you guys go. But kids, like, they're influenced by this, and then you get more freak shows later in life. At some point, you just gotta put some sort of nail in the coffin here.
Oh, 100%. And I think we're slowly moving in the right direction when you take a look at, a company like Evie Magazine, who had a New York Fashion Week after party, and they were talking about embracing femininity and actually highlighting powerful women in that room. So I think we need to focus on those instead of even bringing light to the craziness that some designers do, because there's always going to be the crazies that are trying to make, like Ashley said, art. And instead, I think we need to embrace, Christian culture and American values in America.
Yeah, it's so not art, but what do I know? Morgan, Ashley, we appreciate it. PSA, don't take fashion advice from me ever. All right, before we go, this year's LA Marathon is sparking controversy after organizers gave runners a new option. Next.
The press won't report the real story.
The American people are actually very smart.
Ridiculous statements.
These guys are just plain weird.
Actual scandals.
Even the immunity decision. I mean, that decision was so misreported.
That's my job, and I aim to do it every night.
What can $34 get you these days? It could send you overseas, drop you in your ancestral village, and give you a taste of your heritage passed down through the generations. It can open a whole new world of faraway places and fascinating people that make you who you are today. That's a big adventure for a small price.
Doctors say having a medical emergency kit is like having an urgent care and pharmacy at home. Let me bring in Dr. McCullough to explain more.
Most people know when they're getting sick, but waiting to see a doctor is often too late.
So the key is having medicines before you need them.
Yes, and it includes doctor-prescribed medicines to treat common and serious issues like generic Z-Pak, amoxicillin, antibiotics, antivirals for flu, pneumonia, strep, ear and sinus infections, UTIs, and more.
So it is like having an urgent care at home.
Exactly. No waiting, no pharmacy, no copays. You feel better faster and avoid serious complications and hospitalizations.
How do you know what to take?
Just match your symptoms to the doctor-written guide or schedule a quick telehealth call.
Great advice. I understand ordering is fast online, and we've put the website and $45 off code on the screen. Thank you, doctor.
Visit urgentcarekit.com/news, promo code news.
Some wireless companies say that they stand for something. What exactly do they stand for, and why won't they say it out loud? Let me tell you what Patriot Mobile stands for. They stand for the lives of the unborn. They stand for the Second Amendment and the right to protect yourself and your family. They stand for our veterans and first responders who sacrifice so much for our freedom. Make the switch to Patriot Mobile today and support a company that doesn't just say they stand for something, but one that stands for the things that matter the most.
You can join the Tunnel to Towers mission to do good by donating your car to today's veterans. Your car donation will help Gold Star families, as well as injured veterans, our first responders, and our homeless veterans. Donating your car is quick and simple. Any car is accepted, and we will pick up the car for free. Simply call 844-BRAVES.
By donating your car, you can make a real difference. You can do good.
Don't kibble your dog.
Hey, Dr. Marty.
Hey, back.
What's wrong with this?
Let's check it out. It's still kibble, which means they're ultra-processed. At Dr. Marty, we freeze-dry premium meats, fruits, and vegetables, and it's available at your local pet store.
Need blood pressure support? Total Beets contain a patented key ingredient clinically shown to deliver 2 times better blood pressure support. That's why Total Beets is the #1 best-selling beets brand in America. Take control of your health with Total Beets. Search Amazon now for Total Beets.
Little by little, age-related macular degeneration tries to take away your vision. You're not the type to sit back and do nothing, so now's the time to take action and make a plan with your doctor that includes PreserVision. It contains the clinically proven formula recommended by the NEI to help reduce the risk of moderate to advanced AMD progression. PreserVision is backed by over 20 years of clinical studies, and it's right here in the palm of your hand.
You spent a lifetime becoming who you are. Don't let AMD take that away.
It's your vision. Take action. Choose PreserVision.
This might actually be the most liberal California participation trophy garbage I have ever seen. Yesterday was the LA Marathon, and the organizers decided that if runners are having a tough day, they can quit at mile 18 and still get their medal. The McCourt Foundation said that, quote, if you're having a tough day and want to end your race before 26.2, you can choose to take the turn at mile 18 and head into the finish line early. You do not need to notify anyone of your decision. You can opt to take this route at any time. This option is available for this year only. It says you will have to receive your finisher medal, and you will and any challenge medal you've earned. Your official race results will be updated with a later date to reflect your time and mileage. There's no shame in making a smart decision for your body. This is called quitting, folks. It's not winning. It's not finishing. And those 10 people will put that stupid 26.2 sticker on their bumper on the back of their Subaru. It is unbelievable, Rob, that we've gotten here.
18 out of 26.2. They have the truck, though. Doesn't the truck cup scoop you up if you're too slow? Isn't that how it usually works? They follow you around with a thing, and if you're going too slow, they just pick you up.
I mean, I did this thing called Buds where they just let you die.
So. Yeah. All right, there's one way of doing it, Carl. Always good to talk to you. See you, Carl. All right.